Hello, welcome to another Ginger Mathematician video. So I want to focus on improving your chess, and the way to improve chess is twofold. So one is to complete chess tactics on a regular basis. So please check out the video just above me. Okay, that will let you know about how to go about studying chess tactics. So that's one side of it. The other side is to play long time control chess games, and many of us are short for time in our very, very busy lives. So what I would recommend is to play 10-5 games on Lichess or chess.com or Chess24, one of those websites, and then really analyze those games afterwards. So I'm going to model that. I'm going to show you a game that I'm playing at 10-5, and then I go through that game afterwards and show you what I was thinking as I go through that game, and then how to analyze your game afterwards with some really fancy Lichess tools. So hopefully you take a lot out of this. Do try and watch all the way through to the end of the game so you can see how I think during the opening, during the middle game, and the end game if required as well. Okay, hope you enjoy. Let's play some 10-5. So click on the button. Hopefully it doesn't take too long to get a game. Otherwise I'll just edit the video and we can sort of jump straight to it. So we'll see how we get on. So we get again another 2200 style player, so this should be an interesting game. So one of the key things in a chess game, or longer chess games, really know your openings. So I generally play the Scandinavian. I've practiced this for many years. So this is a standard line. I generally play queen back to d8 after knight c3. In my research, d4 is not an error, so to speak. But certainly I think black is doing perfectly fine after this move e5. Now the idea of e5 is that if white takes, I simply exchange queens, and even though I'm a pawn down, which we're going to see in this line, I get a lot of play against this slightly weak pawn. And hopefully we'll get to see some of the key ideas here. Now because this is a 10-5 game, essentially I treat the game as 15 minutes. So I think, okay, 15 minutes, an average game lasts 40 moves. So I'm aiming to play a move every 30 seconds. Now, this won't always be the case because in the opening I can play slightly quicker. So that's a useful thing to be aware of. Whereas in the middle game I'll play slightly slower. Knight f3 seems a decent looking move. Now I'm just considering whether I play f6 straight away and give up a pawn for active play, or I just play bishop g4, or I play bishop g5. So those are the three moves I'm looking at. Bishop f5, bishop b5, castles. Do I want to play that position, or just play bishop g4, then bishop f4, castle f6? I think I'm going to play bishop g4. So I looked at three moves there: bishop g4, bishop f5, and f6 straight away. Again, all are developing one way or the other. He plays bishop f4, which makes sense, protect the pawn. I'm now going to use the leading development here so I can castle with check. So even though I'm a pawn down here, I'm trying to compensate for that by active play. So we are going to castle straight away. He develops a piece, which makes lots of sense. How do I want to continue here? Do I just want to play bishop at c5? That just attacks a pawn and aids in my development. I think I will. So every move should have a threat. My very simple threat is just to take a pawn. I'm expecting something like bishop g3. Probably not bishop e3. Okay, that's an interesting move. This allows me to play knight d4 check because the knight can't take because of the pin. Yeah, I think that's just a good move. If I don't know if I can reset all these ideas, but knight d4, if he moves the king anywhere apart from e3, I can just take a pawn. And if he comes to queen e3, then I've got a discovery as well. So knight d4. So the idea is if king e3 to protect this, then I've got a discovered attack here, and then I can play a mixture of moves. I can play knight c2, and then win the rook because he needs to get out of check. Plays any other move, so I don't know, probably king f1, I guess. Then I can just take the pawn back and get the pawn back, and he's got slightly weak pawns here, here, and here compared to my structure. Now, the thing is, do I want to take with the knight or the bishop? That's my question here. Or do I want to play something else? If I take with the bishop, lots of arrows here, and then end up with a knight, I am giving up the two bishops. So generally 2 bishops against bishop and knight generally favours the bishops in an open position, which is the case here. I'm just looking at any other alternatives. I think I just want to take the pawn back here. So I'm just going to cash in here, so to speak. I do have the option of bishop a3 as well, but I don't think that achieves anything. I don't think there's any option apart from taking here, which is kind of weird. He hasn't pre-moved this or anything. So I'm trying to think ahead here. So after here and here, so he's attacking this. What do I want to do at that point? Probably just have to defend the pawn with g6. It loosens the dark squares. I do have a dark square bishop to protect, so it's not the worst thing in the world. Do I want to play something else? I don't think so. I think just let's take the pawn, take the material and go from there. I think I can just play g6 quickly. I don't think there's any other move that makes much sense. So I'm going to play this move quickly. If there's an obvious move, this is something to take away from longer chess games. If there's an obvious move, like defend the pawn, g6, there's no other way of defending, then generally want to play that move quickly. There, don't waste time on moves that are straightforward. Now, materials equal. I do have a better pawn structure. So these pawns are weaker than these pawns. That's kind of an abstract concept at the moment, but it could become important later. And generally I want to focus here on development. So if I got some free moves, I'd want to play knight e7, I'd bring rook e8, probably then move the knight to c6 and attack this pawn. So he's playing knight d2, makes sense. He's attacking the bishop. I think the bishop would be trapped out here, so I think the only move is either bishop d5, bishop c6. And I'm going to play bishop c6. It still allows the rook to have some influence here. I've also got the idea of bishop d4 as well. Can't play c3 because this weakens the bishop here. So as I'm playing this, I'm still thinking of ideas as I'm playing. So again, bishop d4 does come to mind. Obviously, he's looking to try and bring the knight into here. It's a reasonable idea. Do like bishop d4. I mean, I could play bishop e7 as well. I could bring the bishop back. This is true. Because then I could play something like f5 if I wanted. Problem with the bishop here, it kind of blocks the natural development of the knight. So with that in mind, I think I'm going to play this move. Could think of taking, but again, that 2 bishops versus bishop and knight, not something I want to aim for. Might be thinking of knight g5, which is interesting. I have to defend against it. Maybe I should take that a bit more seriously. Knight d5, knight g5, sorry. How do I defend this pawn? I was thinking just bishop d5. Maybe knight g5 is more of a threat than I'm thinking. I still think I'm going to have to go for this. I don't want to exchange bishops unless there's a clear tactical reason. But certainly this is a move that I would have to think about. Maybe I have to play something awkward like rook d7. And e6. I mean, knight g5 could also play knight h6. Defend the pawn. Could even play bishop e8. Looks a bit ugly though. So knight g5, bishop d5, c4. Any immediate tactics that I can exploit? Probably just bishop e6, and we take, and we get the two bishop position that I was alluding to, which I don't really want. I'd like not to. I think actually rook d7 might be the move. e6 takes, knight takes e6. Hopefully you're keeping up. And then just develop the knight. So you can take on here. This is true. Problem is rook d7 and e6 comes with a tempo. I wonder if he's thinking about knight g5. It's certainly a move I would think about. I wouldn't worry too much about this pawn. So as your opponent's thinking, you need to be thinking as well. This is important. Okay, so that's good. It slows him down. Gives me a bit more flexibility in the position. So I can play something like h6, for example, here. Could just be a good move. Could just be a good move. Lots of threats come from this knight g5 idea. Although I would like to play knight e7. That's the move I would love to play. I think this knight g5 or bishop g5 is irritating, so I think it's worth kind of wasting a tempo. It does have e6. I didn't really think about this. That's something I should have considered. Okay, he doesn't see it, which is great. Now I can play knight here. I think I'll just keep going with developments. Again, easy decisions I kind of want to move straight away. I can play knight f6 at that point. Doesn't really do anything though. Looks very nice, but it doesn't actually do anything. So I think I'm going to play this. The natural move I want to play, because knight f6 looks great, yeah, it's a very well-supported knight in the middle, but it doesn't actually attack anything. And one thing you need to realise in chess is you have ideas, but they won't always apply to every situation. Knight f6 looking good on the surface, but doesn't achieve anything. I have knight d5 and then knight b4. I can start attacking these weaknesses over here. Could even just exchange the knights there with knight d5. Might be a good idea. Be a little bit careful. Okay, so he plays this c3 move. I don't think I've got any choice here, but just to play bishop b6. Again, straightforward move. We just play a quick move. It's got to watch out for rook sacrifices. So rook takes d3, king takes d3. No, no. Don't want to get my rook stuck on f8 for no apparent reason. Okay, so he plays this, which is kind of what we're expecting. We can exchange knights. I'm still looking at this sacrifice. Doesn't quite work yet, but something to look at. We've also got g5. That's also an idea. Can we combine anything together? Don't think so. Don't want to run out of time. Looking at ideas here. G5 weakens obviously the squares here. Alright, I'm not going to spend any longer than 20 seconds on this. No, I say that now. This is a weak pawn. I'd like to exploit that somehow. I'm sort of lacking ideas. This is the problem. This is the problem. I'd like to get some rook sacrifice in, but it doesn't work. I've got bishop f3. It's kind of a nice little one mover. Yeah, this bishop. Okay, I think I'm going to play this first. I think it's the move I'm going to have to play, even though you can try and break the pawns up. Still looking at bishop f3. He takes. Try and do something. Does it achieve anything, really? It allows me to double. These pawns are always weak. I'm going to try it. I think it's an interesting idea. It allows me to double with the rooks quickly, so it's not a case of he's going to miss the tactic or anything, but it allows me to double rooks quickly. This is my idea. I can also bring the knight into f5 if this bishop disappears. Again, this knight, although it looks good, is not actually doing anything. Could play king d2, but that looks pretty bad. Don't think I will play that. So we take, and the idea with here is just double rooks. Get some initiative going. You can obviously play rook here and go into an ending. But I'd hope in that situation this pawn is slightly weak. But he does go for this, which is kind of not a surprise. I want to attack these weaknesses. I think I'm going to play here. So can I get after this weakness? This is the question. Be careful of tactics with e6, for sure. I could play knight here as well. It's very complex. It's very complex in such a short amount of time. It's like, is the exchange a good idea? You know, this is the kind of thing. I think he can get his king up quite quickly. This is the issue. Yeah, I think I'm going to play this. This defends some light squares. I've got my dark square bishop here. Now I know you can play things like knight g8, for example, but I think this then is quite inconvenient. You might go for the exchange, and then it gives me a very easy path to get my king up. So I'm always thinking about king activity in the endgame. I'm slightly down on time, so I want to keep my decisions reasonably straightforward. And draw again is not the worst result against a similar rated player as black. So let's think about this. So knight takes d5, c takes d5, king d3, king d7. You can't actually make any progress. And I'm hoping to just gain on this pawn. He should probably avoid exchanging knights. And then just keep looking to play the position as is. My idea is to try and get up on this pawn. This is going to be my plan. Got to watch out for things like knight e4, knight d6, attacking here and here. So if knight e4, I'll probably just play the bishop back. And you think about all the options here. Knight e4, bishop c7, and then look to walk my king up. Yeah, so we get this. He's got knight c5 afterwards, which is annoying. But I think I can just play b6 and kick it away. Got to watch out for tactics with e6. But, yeah, these two pieces defend each other, which is useful. A few lines. If I can get my king on e6, I'll be very, very happy. I can't play king d7 immediately because he's got the check. So I think I need to play this first. He might just be trying to go after these pawns. What do I do if he just goes after them? Yeah, that's the question. bring this up anyway. I'm hoping we waste time here trying to chase these pawns and I can attack in the center, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm thinking king here, knight here, check, and then just taking this. Then you can take this. Thing is, I have no way of defending that really. I think I have to go down this line. Even play bishop back here. I think well, bishop back there is actually quite an interesting move. Or I could just play king here. Feels like the knight looks a bit vulnerable, but I don't think I can do anything. He's got knight with check. Yeah, this king move was just a good idea, unfortunately. The problem is this pawn then drops afterwards. That is the problem. We're running out of time. We're interesting to analyse this game afterwards. Yeah, I'm really running out of time here. What's the best way to cause trouble? I'm just going to play pawn up here. Don't like it. It's kind of just saying I'm worse. Plays here. It's not check, but not great. Right, I think I'm just going to play back. He's just going after that pawn. Wow, it's amazing how the position just sort of died completely. Right, so I'm going to try a tactical trick here, but won't be good enough. The pawn down, but we'll still keep fighting. We might make a move I've kind of missed here, but no, bishop d6 I can just take, so I think he's got to take here. Yeah, it's a case of backs to the wall. Okay, that's interesting. Didn't even think about that. Okay, well I'm going to take on them. Here's those 2 pawns in the middle. Maybe we can do something with that. If in doubt, push past pawns. Generally a good rule of thumb. I think he's got time though. Yeah. He plays king here, should be fine. Thought this was an interesting idea to try and get something happening. King there is basically over. That's also good. Yeah, I think that's game over, but we'll keep moving. Knight here just controls everything. Yeah, I think I'll resign this one. But I'll just show you, if I go here, for example, this pawn's too quick, but I can show you this. I don't even know what's better here, playing this first. I'll play it this way. Unfortunately, this doesn't work, which is unfortunate. We'll try it anyway. The problem is I'm one tempo too slow, as you can see. The king wasn't on there. That was a kind of dangerous way to play that, but as you can see, it was fine. And I can't promote straight away because he's got this check here, so play here, but then king here picks up pawn. There we are. The queen there picks up pawn. Right, I'll resign that. And let's have a look at the analysis board. So, oh wait, I think I was slightly better with the pawn structure. But yeah, the king walk up and just take the pawns. Couldn't really stop it that well. So it'd be interesting to see analysis-wise what the computer is. So once it's loading up, let's just talk about this. So I do think this is inaccurate. Oh, that's not good. There's been a fire. Okay. Yeah, it says d4 is inaccurate. E5 being the move, and taking is also not great. I think this is just equal. Let's just go through this. Yep, that's best move. Bishop d3 not being the best move. I think I played this pretty well in the opening. I do play knight d4. Is there an alternative here? Maybe even just f6 is a better move. I don't know what the engine thinks there. See what the engine suggests. Doesn't like f6. Okay, what's the engine liking? Okay, the move I played. Oh, bishop d4. Bishop d4. Didn't think about this. It's a very straightforward threat. Just take the pawn back, yeah? So, okay, let's say go there, and then we just take the pawn, yeah? And we've just got an advantage with the king open in the center. He tries to run away. Yeah, I can take a free pawn, essentially, I think. Yeah, I can actually play this because this knight is weakly defended. Okay, so play this. This is fine. You can see it's equal. Again, moves that obvious to play. Yeah, bishop d5 was a possibility. Played here instead. Knight e4, bishop d4, good move. Rook b1, h6 was actually a surprisingly good move. Top engine's top choice, makes a lot of sense. We looked at a lot of lines where knight g5 was a problem, so play a prophylactic move. Yeah, e6, which I did discuss in the game. I think with e6, if I take, which I think if I did take, which I was certainly thinking of, then the rook comes into the game. But the engine spots this, which is nice. And this pawn is going to be weak, so I like that. So he plays king e2, develop a piece, can't go wrong with that. Bishop b6. Okay, and I missed that tactical shot. That's a nice tactical shot. Interesting, I play a very similar move later on, this bishop f3 move, which is to deflect away from here. But this, yeah, this just wins a pawn, yeah? If he takes, then this is just bad, yeah? That was the key tactical shot. That would have been not game over, because you can see after. Yeah, you just defend it, for example, and then we just continue, yeah? Yeah, seems a fine move. I'm just pawn up. How do I defend against this? Just back to the wall defending, and then slowly unpick the position. Yeah, that's fine as well. Okay, so I had the right idea, but not on f3, but on f2. And in fact, actually, my idea, yeah, I considered h5. I was thinking, yeah, after h4, g4, is that necessarily very good? No, certainly I can bring the knight here and keep pressure. Yeah, I think that's one of my weaknesses in my game. I want to sort of clarify the position when it's not required, and that's a clarifying move. But sort of from a strategic perspective, giving up the light squared bishop when you have very little control of the light squares is not a good idea. I think we see this in the endgame, which is interesting. So this goes into, yeah, slightly worse ending for me. Play bishop c7, which is just a bad move. It allows this idea. King activity is everything. I wonder why I didn't play that straight away. So if he does play this... that was the reason I didn't play it. But yeah, this seems fine, I think. Yeah, it's a bit tricky. What about if he just goes after it? Yeah, that can sort of defend, but it's not ideal defending by any means, under pressure. Yeah, the reason I didn't play king d7, I played the inferior move, which allows him to mop up the pawns, is, yeah, there's this move I was a bit afraid of, attacking here and here. It's certainly something to be afraid of. And machine just says, just ignore this and play this position with an active king, which makes a lot of sense. But in a game where you just don't want to lose a pawn for nothing, you can see now slowly the engine's coming around to the idea that white's just doing well. I think this is just a bad endgame for black, I think. And it all stems from this mistake, even though g5 was seen as the mistake, it misses opportunity. This is the real mistake, actually. You need to keep the light square bishop on to protect the light squares. I kind of underestimated how quickly this king can get there. So I think that's the key mistake here. Of course, if I spotted this tactical shot, the bishop takes f2, then that would have been good as well. So whenever you analyse a game like this, you need to think, what are the critical moments and what in your thought process is causing the errors? And the error here was lack of appreciation of the weakness of light squares, the desire to just clarify the position when it's not required, and yeah, just missing a tactical shot, but that happens, yeah. So even though g5 is seen as the mistake, which of course it is, missing the opportunity to win a pawn, the real mistake, I think, was that bishop f3. Conceptually, that's not a good idea to play. But I'm happy with my opening. I got a advantage of black out the opening against 2200. You certainly can't complain about that. And I think that was an interesting game to analyse, yeah? It's good to analyse your losses as well as your wins as well, but losses are actually more important, yeah, seeing what's faulty in that thinking process. Okay, hope you found that video interesting, and again, please like and subscribe. Bye-bye for now.